is an honor to be here today. I'm excited to be kicking off What's the Point? Somebody say, what's the point? Hey, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you kind of asked the question, what's the point? Like maybe, I don't know, when you went to the doctor's office and they handed you that stack of forms on the little clipboard, and at the top of every form, it's name, address, phone, social, like it's all this, every form. It's like, why do I have to write this down? What's the point? Anybody, right? Come on, teenagers, when your mom or your dad asks you to make your bed, right? And you're like, what's the point? I'm going to get back in my bed in like 2 hours for a nap anyway, right? Aren't there situations all the time? Or come on, college students, you know what I'm talking about. When for some reason in the syllabus for your major, you have to take like 13th century European antiquities, I don't even know if that goes together, lit, right? Some literature class, and you're like, I'm a biology major. Like what? Like what's, right? What? And so here's my newest one, okay? Here's my newest one. The whole what's the point question right here, because they're everywhere. My newest one is when you call your credit card company, come on somebody, and the computer says, please enter your 16-digit, and you, please enter your 3-digit credit card, right? Okay, so then you wait on pause for, I don't know, 2.5 weeks. Then when someone, actually a real-life person, picks up, what's the first thing they ask you? What's your 16-digit? And I'm like, come on, say it with me. What's the point? Well, hey, here's the deal. For us here at Mercy City, for the next 4 weeks, starting today, we're going to be in this series called What's the Point, where we're talking about when there are certain things in life that we have to walk through or go through that on the surface and in the immediate seem like, what's the point? They seem pointless to us. But what we're going to discover, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to do so many creative things over the next few weeks. So make sure you're here. Make sure you keep inviting those who aren't a part of a local church anywhere, and bring them with you to one of our weekend services, because every week we're going to take a different angle and look at the question, what's the point? And all of this goes back to a story that's found in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 9. So we're going to look in the Bible today at 1 Samuel chapter 9. And actually, as Pastor Matt just mentioned a moment ago, this series comes from the book that I wrote called Donkey Mission. Everyone say Donkey Mission. Okay, and we have some copies of this in both of our foyers, by the way, and also we have it in Spanish, and I'm so excited about this, Misson Burro. And so anybody who is Spanish-speaking, maybe you work with someone or you know someone in your world who speaks, their heart language is Spanish, or they're more comfortable reading in Spanish. We have a few copies of that in Seward. I actually signed a bunch of books for you, so I think in your foyer today there's a bunch of books that are signed for whatever that's worth, which is actually not much. But wow, great. So you've defaced my book already. That's awesome. Thanks for doing that, though. That's really cool. So anyway, so the concept of donkey mission comes from the book of 1 Samuel chapter 9, and our story revolves around a guy named Saul. Everyone say Saul. And Saul was destined for greatness. He was destined to become the first king over the nation of Israel, which in the Old Testament was God's chosen people. Imagine that. Be destined to become the first king over God's chosen people, Israel. But before Saul could be on that greater mission, he had to go on a donkey mission. Want to look at the story? Let's look at the story together. 1 Samuel chapter 9, starting in verse 1. The verses are on the screen. You'll be able to follow along there with me. It says this: There was a Benjamite, a man of standing, whose name was Kish. Everyone say Kish. Son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, the son of another guy, the son of another guy, of Benjamin. In other words, he was of the tribe, or kind of the family tree of a guy named Benjamin. Verse 2, Kish had a son named Saul. There he is. Look at this. As handsome a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel. He was a head taller than anyone else. So like this guy, he's head and shoulders. Like this is somebody, like he could have played linebacker for the Cornhuskers. Come on, somebody. That's Saul. Like he was like, it was like everybody else. Oh, what up, dog? Right? Like it's like then there was Saul, okay? So look what it says. Verse 3. Now, the donkeys, this is where the story picks up, belonging to Saul's father Kish were lost. And Kish said to his son Saul, take one of the servants with you and go and look for the donkeys. So here's Saul, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome, right? Destined for greatness, destined to become something special, the first king over Israel. But before that, Saul's father, Kish, loses some donkeys. So he calls his son in and he says, hey man, go down to the break room, grab one of the team, grab one of our guys, and I need you to go search for these donkeys. Saul's father sends him on a donkey mission. And I imagine in that moment, Saul, when his dad calls him in going, seriously? Like, do you not know who I am? Like, have you not seen how awesome? I'm being recruited by several Big Ten teams, right? Like I imagine Saul kind of being like, you want me to go look for some dumb donkeys? Like, what? Seriously? That seems rather pointless. Ever been on a donkey mission? Ever been asked to do something that just seems pointless? And not just at the doctor's office or when you call your credit card company. Like, ever found yourself in life on a donkey mission where you wake up one morning and you go, how am I here? What? Really? This is my life. We've all been on so many donkey missions, haven't we? I look at my life and I think about over 48 and a half years. Hey, listen, it's my birthday. I can celebrate the half if I want. Over 48 years of life and over 30 years of ministry, just so many literally thousands and thousands of times, looking around at my life going, seriously? Like, this is what I'm giving my, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I remember Sarah and I felt called to start Next Level Church in Fort Myers, Florida. You heard your pastor mention our story a little bit. 21 and a half years ago, God called us, and actually further back than that. As teenagers, God called us, put a vision in our heart. We were born and raised in Indiana, so I get the whole Midwest thing. Although I love that you guys embrace the corn. In Indiana growing up, there was like a theme park that was like for Indiana Beach or whatever, and there was a song that said, the first line of the song was, there's more than corn in Indiana. Like, we were like, no, please, don't see the corn. You guys are like, put it on a t-shirt. That's what I dig about you, Nebraska. Wow, and Nebraska's way further north than I realized. Like, we're up there. This is a long way. You guys are so much further up than Kansas. Kansas, we look down on thee, right? Like, that's Nebraska. This is awesome. I remember when God put the vision in our heart as teenagers in Indiana for Next Level Church in Southwest Florida, man, when we moved, we knew nobody, and we were broke. Like, we were so poor, we couldn't afford the OR on the word poor. Like, we were so broke, so poor, so clueless. We moved. Our fellowship that we were part of in Indiana, they gave us the left foot of fellowship. The Apostle Paul said in his writings in the New Testament, we extended the right hand of fellowship. We got the left foot of fellowship. It's called the y'all go ahead. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all go ahead. Don't call us. We'll call you, and we're still waiting for them to call 21 and a half years later. That kind of love, that kind of sent. Boy, we were sent. I was 26. Sarah was 24. Moved 1,100 miles away from the only home we'd ever known in Indiana with this huge vision called Next Level Church. And we knew nobody. We got down there. And we needed money. And I needed a job. So I filled out my resume, and I put all my ministry experience on this resume, and I started turning in my resume all over town. And here's what I found out. With nothing but ministry experience on my resume, I was certifiably unhireable. It was awesome. And I remember I went in for an interview at Target, and literally the lady who was doing the interview, she looked at me and she goes, why aren't you doing something in your field? And I'm like, well, I am, but I can't tell you that because I need a job, right? I couldn't even get hired at Target. So we knew one person in Southwest Florida. They were a family that had been friends of ours in the Midwest, moved to Florida, and they were jewelers. And so I called up my friend after like 3 or 4 weeks of trying to find a job, and I said, hey, man, I'm desperate. I need a job. And he said, great, come on in. We'll give you a job. So he paid me $11 an hour to work in the back of a jewelry store. Turns out being honest matters in the jewelry business. Who knew? And I was overpaid, trust me. He paid me $11 an hour, and I would change watch batteries and size rings and all of that. And I remember so many days sitting at that jeweler's bench with this massive dream in my heart for God to use us in a huge way in Southwest Florida and to minister to other churches. And I remember sitting day after day after day in my little jewelry bench, and I could see out the window because they gave us a little bit of window in that prison. I mean, jewelry. And I could see out, and all I could see was a gas station. And like, I just remember sitting there so many days going, why am I here? Like, really, God? This is your big plan for next level church. Like, we named it Next Level. It was a donkey mission. It was a donkey mission. What I couldn't see then, in those lonely days, I remember sitting on the side of our bed, our little 800 square foot apartment in the wrong side of town that we didn't know was the wrong side of town. So alone, so broke, so clueless. And Sarah and I were crying one night, and I looked at Sarah and I said, if God lets us live through this, we're going to spend the rest of our life making sure that no ministry couple ever has to feel the way we feel right now. And as I reflect on that donkey mission 21 and a half years ago, God saw you. God saw you. God saw your pastors who would walk into our church, 17 years after that? Lonely, hurting, in need of a family, community of brothers and sisters to do life with. Donkey mission. I'm so thankful for the donkey mission that led to our greater mission. So Saul's father, Kish, loses these donkeys. He sends them out on this donkey mission. Keep reading, verse 4. So he and his servant passed through the hill country of Ephraim and through the area of Shalisha. They didn't find him. They went on into the district of Shaalim, but the donkeys were not there. Then he passed through the territory of Benjamin, but they did not find him. Let me give you 4 thoughts, 4 truths actually, 4 truths about donkey missions today. As we kick off this series, let me give you 4 truths about our donkey missions. Here's the first one. Number 1, donkey missions test our patience. Come on, somebody. Isn't it true? When you find yourself on a donkey mission, it sure does test our patience. For Saul, they went all over the place. It says they went to 4 different places, 4 different cities, 4 different regions. The theologians tell us they traveled over 30 miles looking for these dumb donkeys, and they couldn't find them anywhere. This donkey mission for Saul was long, it was boring, and honestly, it wasn't even going well. Ever had a donkey mission test your patience? When your boss calls you in, come on, you know what I'm talking about, and says he's got a new territory for you, and it's a great opportunity, but it's 90 minutes from your house. And now every morning while you're driving to this new opportunity, you realize, oh, it's not really an opportunity. The other guy didn't want to do it either. Or parents, come on, when you're changing 15 diapers a day, and then you're looking at everybody else's Instagram reel, and you're going, man, they're having more fun than me. Donkey missions can test our patience. See, the problem in our culture, Mercy City, today is that we all just want to be king. And social media actually gives off the impression that we can be. We don't want to go on donkey missions that develop us into the person that's capable of becoming a king. We just want to be king now. We just want to have influence now. We just want what our parents have. We just want it 15 years faster. We want what our bosses have. We just want it in 3 years or less. We want to graduate and be in the C-suite in 9 months. We want to be called to ministry and be preaching to thousands in 9 months. But that's not how God develops us. God develops our character through patience and perseverance. It's the donkey missions of our life where we look on and we go, man, what's the point of this? Can I tell you what the point is? What God's doing in you is greater than what he's trying to do through you in this season. Just be patient. Just be patient. Verse 5, keep reading. When they reached the district of Zuph, so now they go to the 5th place. Saul said to the servant who was with him, come on, man, let's go back. So he wants to give up. Or my father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us. Saul wants to quit the donkey mission. Man, we've looked in 4 different places. Now we're in this 5th place. We still haven't. You know what this is? These are just stupid donkeys anyway. And I love it. It gives us a reflection that Saul's ego kicks in. Did you hear it? Well, I'm a big deal. So let's just quit. Yeah, that's it. This donkey mission's actually beneath me. My father's actually going to start worrying about me more than these donkeys. Hey, Saul, easy on the pride, bro. Ever had your pride kick in on the donkey mission? I mean, everybody knows how big of a deal I am. I mean, everybody knows how awesome I am and how gifted I am. Donkey missions test our patience. Keep reading verse 6. The servant replied, look, in this town, so the servant is with him. All of a sudden, he raises his voice. And Saul wants to quit. And the servant's like, no, don't hang, not so fast. Look, in this town, there's a man of God, and we're going to meet him. His name's Samuel. He was the prophet of God. And somehow the servant knew that he was literally in the town they were in. He's highly respected, and everything he says comes true. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what way to take. Look, verse 7. But Saul said to his servant, yeah, but if we go, I mean, what can we give the man? Because in those days it was customary you had to bring a gift in order to be seen or to have an audience with a guy like that. But what are we going to get? So he starts making excuses. Well, the food in our sacks is gone, and we have no gift to take to the man of God. I mean, what do we have? Look at this. I love the tenacity of the servant. Verse 8. The servant answered him, look, I have 1/4 shekel of silver. I'll give it to the man of God so that he'll tell us what way to go. Here's the second truth I want to share with you today. Number 2, donkey missions keep us humble. Donkey missions keep us humble. Okay, so put yourself in this scenario. Saul's father lost some donkeys. He sends Saul and a servant to go look for said donkeys. After a long period of time, looking in 5 different regions over 30 miles over several days, they have no luck trying to find these donkeys. So Saul wants to quit. The servant says, let's don't give up quite yet. Instead, let's go talk to the prophet of the land. Now, here's what you need to know. Samuel, in those days, he wanted to direct a nation. He would literally choose one person, a prophet, and he would speak through that person to give direction to the entire nation. So, in other words, Samuel is the most famous, the most powerful and prominent voice in the entire nation, okay? That would be like, for us in our day, for those of us who are followers of Jesus, someone like Rick Warren. Going to Rick Warren, one of the Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. He wrote Purpose Driven Life 25 years ago. Such an incredible, impacted literally billions of people. That would be like us losing our bicycle and our friend going, hey man, Rick Warren's in town. Let's go ask Rick Warren if God told him where your dad's bicycle is. You know what, bro? We're good. Ever been humbled by a donkey mission? That's where Saul's at. That's the equivalent. That's the scenario. Seriously? We're going to go bother Rick Warren about my dad's stinking bicycle? I'm good. Ever had pride kick in on a donkey mission? See, donkey missions keep us humble. And he literally had to bum money off his buddy just to get in, to pay the admission fee. The boss didn't even give us the resources to do this stupid job. Donkey missions. They test our patience. They keep us humble. Keep reading verse 10. Good, Saul said to his servant. So thank goodness he humbles himself. Let's go. Let's go talk to the prophet. Let's go talk to Samuel. So they set out from the town where the man of God was. Look, verse 11. As they were going up the hill to the town, they met some young women. Coming out to draw water. And they asked them, is the seer here? So they call prophets seers. Verse 12. He is, they answered. He's ahead of you. Hurry now. He has just come to our town today, for the people have a sacrifice at the high place. Here's number 3. We're talking about 4 truths about donkey missions today, Mercy City. Number 3, donkey missions test our integrity. Donkey missions test our integrity. At the exact moment that God starts to divinely order their steps, here comes temptation. I don't think it's a mistake that the Word of God recorded that these were young women. Think about who Saul and his servant were. These are young guys. Remember, he's the linebacker guy. Like, he's head and shoulders. He's a looker. He's a good-looking dude. And put yourself in their position. He's been on this journey for a few days. He's tired. He's frustrated. He's stressed out. He's worried. He's bummed. And he feels like a loser. And at that exact moment, here comes temptation. And church, I just want you to know, it is when you and I feel stressed and frustrated and like we're a failure and like our life is not going well. The devil knows we are living in a spiritual battle. And the enemy of our souls knows and will wait to tempt us and pounce at the exact right time. Distractions and opportunities to get sidetracked and permanently off course on our donkey mission always exist. And we can't be naive to it. More people with huge upside potential lose their way in the middle of donkey missions than you can imagine. And the reason why is because in the immediate, what we're doing looks so unfruitful. It looks so worthless. It looks so pointless. Even if we succeed, they're stupid donkeys. And at this point, Saul has a decision to make. Is this donkey mission more important than hanging out with these ladies? People do this all the time because we feel like what we're giving ourselves to isn't bearing the kind of fruit that we want. And so we quit a job. We quit a marriage for an affair. We quit a ministry. We quit tithing and living generously and honoring God with our finances because we think it's not doing much. We quit a small group because someone said something that hurt our feelings and offended us. We quit serving on a team because no one will recognize my gift. We even leave a church. Distraction, temptation, right in the middle of what God is setting up to do. Donkey missions always test our integrity. Continue with the story, verse 14. So they went up to the town. Thank God they don't get distracted by the pretty girls. They went up to the town, and as they were entering it, there was Samuel coming toward them on his way up to the high place. So he's headed up to the meeting. Saul and his servant come walking up, and sure enough, there they are. Now, pause. Because what happens here in Scripture, the very next verse, is actually a flashback. Okay? So, like if this were a Netflix, docuseries, a little subtitle on the screen would come up and say, 24 hours earlier, okay? Ready? Watch, here we go, verse 15. Now, which, by the way, Donkey Mission would be a cool Netflix series. Just kidding. Okay, so look, verse 15. Because if the producer of Netflix series is in Nebraska, there's more than corn in Nebraska. Verse 15. Stop getting me distracted. All right, here we go. Ready? Now, the day before, look, flashback, 24 hours. The day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel. So 24 hours before this moment where Saul and Samuel's paths are about to cross on this pointless donkey mission, watch. God, 24 hours before this, has spoken to Samuel the prophet about Saul. Check this out. Verse 16. About this time tomorrow, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him ruler over my people Israel. He will deliver them from the hand of the Philistines, the bad guys. In other words, I'm going to raise this guy up to lead my people. I've looked on my people, for their cry has reached me. So 24 hours before, come on somebody. While Saul is in the middle of a pointless donkey mission, looking around going, I just want to quit, God was talking behind his back. And not in a bad way, in a good way. God was orchestrating and ordering his steps to lead him to this moment. Now, verse 17, flash forward 24 hours, back to present moment. When Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, this is the guy. This is the man I spoke to you about. He will govern or lead my people. Mercy City, number 4. Donkey missions are always about something greater than donkeys. Donkey missions are always about something greater than just donkeys. At the exact same time that Saul is on a seemingly pointless donkey mission, God is speaking to Samuel about him. Church family, listen, we never know when our donkey mission and our greater mission are going to collide. Donkey missions are the very thing God uses to prepare us for our greater mission. And they're the very thing that God uses to lead us to our greater mission. We just have to be humble enough, patient enough, and faithful enough to trust God while we're on them. So let me ask you today, Seward, you as well. You on a donkey mission? Is there any area of your life where you feel like you're on a donkey mission? Let me give you 3 challenges real quick. 3 challenges. Number 1, stop spending so much time worrying about your greater mission and just start being faithful. Just start being faithful to your donkey mission. See, so often, and because of social media today, we're just bombarded with everybody else's billboard, and we're comparing their billboard to our diary. We're comparing their awesome to our mundane, and we feel like we don't measure up. Well, I'm not living well. I'm not doing well. I don't have well. Hey, stop worrying about all that. Just be faithful where you are. Just be faithful where you are. Here's the second challenge I want to give to you. Don't let anything be beneath you. Don't let anything be beneath you. The fastest path to promotion in God's economy is serving. It's humility. It's yes. It's saying, okay, God, whatever you want, I'll do it. If this is where you have me right now, then I'm all in. Because I believe even though this seems like a pointless mission, it's leading and you're working it together for good for me, for my greater mission. Don't let anything be beneath you. Serve the donkey mission of the Father and watch how God uses it to lead you to your greater mission. Last challenge, stop seeing things as pointless and start seeing them as practice. Stop seeing things as pointless and start seeing them as practice. God gives us donkey missions so we can practice. I'm so thankful for those early days when Sarah and I were so lonely, so clueless, so broke, because God birthed in our heart a passion and a vision that today is impacting ministry couples around the world. And if we hadn't experienced what we experienced on the donkey mission, we wouldn't appreciate what we have in our greater mission. God knew that 21 and a half years later, I'd be in Lincoln, Nebraska, talking to all of you, being able to pour into your pastors and make a difference in lives around the world.